The rest of the starting lineup in the quadball game for New York is Lindsay Morella, Yanko, and John Jackson. Christian Barnes and Frank Minson are going to be starting beaters up against Will Andrews and Fiona Weishart. Taylor Crawford's running with John Jackson. Crawford makes no mistake of overrunning Jackson this time. It is going to be New York ball, though, and it's also going to be New York dodgeballs. Yanko goes around the corner, just flings it back to Jackson. Jackson gets it across to Mendoza. Mendoza answering the call right away. It is next player up here in New York, 10-0.
I think we just Beetlejuiced the goal right there. Congrats to Mendoza. Great way to start off. I love what New York does on the jump. They get a tap beat really early, so now all of a sudden you're already playing in rotation, and that's something that I was always weary of. If I didn't think we were going to win the run-up at midfield, I'd be happy to just lay off and play a stagnant defense. As long as you don't give up the first goal, then the first possession doesn't matter. Obviously it does there for Boston.
Andrews has the only dodgeball for Boston, now teamed up with Aaron McCready, who just didn't run the brooms up. Beckman and Lawrence are patient. Crawford's all the way behind. Kind of the heavy hitter line again from the Forge, but the issue with this line has sometimes been the offensive end. We'll see what they can muster. Luis Mendoza running around the pitch.
Emerson zone from a little bit from New York. Crawford with a big push on the middle. The wheels are turning upstairs. Let's see if the light's on.
Delk has the ball on the far side. Lee finally going to press up because he did get rid of McCready first. All the dodgeballs are on the ground, but the pass goes across to Beckman. Beckman's shot denied by Jackson, and there's going to be an opportunity to run. McCready now has a ball. I think Yanko does see her. She just takes the exchange for dodgeball control, and it's Peter Lawrence, the big hit, and Taylor Crawford coming up on top. Erin McCready making the play there to trust her quadball players, knowing how important control is, and her quadball players step up.
Yeah, well done there. Good to see the team tackle in transition. That's the pride that we're talking about right there. That's, you do things as a team. You make sure you don't get out physical, outworked.
Yeah. It doesn't end up with McCready able to win dodgeball control, so there will still be the one dodgeball with Andrews against Lee and Barnes.
Morella does a good job getting around the screen attempt by Beckman there, but now you got a free one behind the hoops.
Delk, ball on the far side.
I like the cuts through the keeper zone that Boston's using with Taylor Crawford right now because the beaters are playing so far off of hoops.
Lawrence just runs through, around, and under the entire defense, gets a goal. Lawrence's third of the series, and just like that, we're not up at one. Already a way better start for Boston than we saw in Game 2.
And really, it should be more from Lawrence so far. Lawrence has the ability to be a game breaker, has been doing a very good job of winning off of the dribble, so to speak, but just not getting into the lane and making shots effectively.
Speaking of getting in the lane, I think Yanko had that one, but it's not to be. John Jackson, though, able to get to the loose ball. Jackson, it's still a no dodgeball situation. Mendoza has it. Mendoza looking to drive. I think the ref staff might have to talk that one over. We just haven't had the perfect angle on it. I'm pretty sure Yanko's shot did go through there.
Yeah, if nothing else happened, then it for sure is a goal. Good job by Yanko on the weird angle shot, and good job by the goal ref to get eyes on it, make sure they get the call right.
Yanko just seems to have great zone control of where the hoop is in relation to him at any point. Really good at coming around those corners and scoring. And New York, just like that, up 2-1 here early.
Yeah, but again, if you're Boston, the pace so far is not killing you. You need to make sure this is a winnable game. We talked about 11 being the number. If the pace of play is right, because you're playing good offense and good defense, then you can keep this below 11 quad ball goals.
Oh, weird sequence here, and the T stops Peter Lawrence one more time. Oh, the ball went through the hoop. No. Maybe there's a beat before.
Beat first.
Yeah, Peter Lawrence initially had bobbled the ball, which was going to be an easy no-budge opportunity. I think Morella had it for a second. Lawrence came up with it again, but gets shut down at the hoops. Basically, Lindsay and Morella all over them.
Kids, there's something to learn from every tape that you watch, no matter what game. I firmly believe that. Something to learn from that tape. Catch with your hands, not with your body.
Mendoza there. Oh, it's a pass actually to Morella. I can't tell if Montero blocked that with her face or whatnot. Regardless, it is a stop. It is going the other way. Biddles has Jason Ing wrapped up, so it's a no dodgeball situation. Higmont's able to clear out Delk as Beckman gathers it. Skur is finally, I think, going to settle this play down.
Great transition defense from New York.
They're able to keep dodgeball control out of the situation as well. Montero just throws back to Biddles after eating a beat.
The screens have to be better from Boston.
Yeah, but there finally at least is a tap beat on the top point defender to move them things around.
Be intentional with your offense, right? If you're a young coach or a captain or something looking to learn, be intentional. Don't run players for no reason. If you're going to go set a screen, set one.
Ing, considering a long throw, makes a big dodge there. No, he's called beat. Beckman, though, shot is blocked. I think there's going to be a quick discussion here. Could be unlucky for Boston because I think that ball was going to deflect out of bounds without anybody stopping it, which would have kept the ball in Boston's hands.
Right. Yeah, we'll see how the refs educate it here. But yeah, you can see that, you know, it might be a little bit of too late to start adjusting, but the motion is better. The players seem to be, again, less of 6 individual players running around with coverage on them and more of, all right, we're looking to open up things as a team, our beaters and chasers together, our chasers and chasers together. So
I think what they had to adjudicate was adjudicate
Thank you.
was was whether that ball had contacted Ing because Ing might have manipulated the ball afterwards. So I think they turned dodgeball control over to Boston. I think Beckman did pick up a knock on that play. Looks to be taking a sub. The real question is,
where's the quad ball?
Yeah, I think it might be loose on the ground. And again, I think Boston got really unlucky there because I think that was just going to deflect right out of play. Yanko looks like they have the first step, and assumingly the ball's not going to still be rolling off the stop. Oh, no, it is. It was put on the sideline.
If you're the second one to this ball, push the first person out of bounds. It's almost easier to be second to the ball in this case. And this is a part of the game I always loved, during the stoppage, you find a way to communicate that to your teammates, like, hey, play defense off of this, not offense. Sometimes they get it, sometimes they don't, depending on how discreet you're trying to be. You can hear Max Havlin from the sideline, helping get everybody on the same page beater-wise.
Olazaba and Yanko are going to be running for this dodgeball. I don't think either's going to get much dodgeball help. Oh, no, I think Biddles made a beat, missed a beat, hard to tell. Oh, yeah, it made the beat. Olazaba, though, just gets dropped by Lindsay Morella.
Well done by Morella.
And I think Olazaba's down hard.
Fantastic tackle by Morella.
Yeah, and, I mean, we talked about maybe this would be, a less aggressive game with everything that's happened. This might be the most physical game of the 3. It feels like the dodgeballs are flying everywhere, and everyone's just being forced to hit everybody.
Well, we talked about it, right? Sometimes the intangibles taste the sweetest, something like that. You can't replace pride. There's a lot of stakes at play in every instance, but at the heart of every competition is the opportunity to be better than somebody else. And there are no 2 teams that want to be better than somebody else than these 2 teams in the East Division.
Yeah, I mean, Boston, the only team to ever go undefeated in the East. Austin, of course, the only one to ever go undefeated in the South. The North, we've had a couple scenarios, but also, the altered format kind of comes into play there as well. But it's definitely a rare feat to do. So Biddles is headed to the box for an illegal tackle. So from bad to worse there for Boston. The offensive opportunity gets stopped. The dodgeball control goes to New York, and it's going to be a fast break opportunity here. John Jackson on the run, gets a step on Doyle, gets easily screened out of the way, and it's an easy put away for Jackson. Jackson, 8 goals now on the series.
We talked about it in between games. It feels like a quiet superstar performance from John Jackson, but if I had to give him a nickname, it'd be the quiet superstar.
5 minutes.
It's exactly perfect for his game.
Yep. It's now 3-1 in favor of New York. 5 minutes in. Again, not the terrible start that Boston got on the last one. Good exchange here. All the dodgeballs are on the ground. Olazaba looking to get back into the game in a hurry. Puts it through. And we're starting to see things click a little bit more for Boston here late in the series.
Yeah, great coordination on the side hoop there.
And great coordination with the dodgeball players, right? Kieran Collier and Serena Montero do a great job there of getting all 3 dodgeballs on the ground. And it was at that exact moment that that their quadball players were ready to go with the pass.
Yep. Yeah, timing is everything. We've talked about it's easy to win if your beaters are absolutely dominating the dodgeball game to the point where everything's open, right? And for a lot of teams, that's the only way they can win is when they have a team that's completely outmatched by their beaters, and they'll come and go with whatever their beaters are doing. But great teams, elite teams, are able to win when their beaters aren't winning because they're on time. You don't need to dominate every inch of the field. You just need to dominate the inches that matter. And that's an instance right there of when you're playing together, when your fundamentals are good, when you're on time, you can get easy ones. It's just who can get the most usually wins.
Yeah, so just a quick hoop replacement here on the New York side. Additionally, I think adding a little air to the ball as it gets a little cooler here late at night. So just a couple quick equipment changes, and we'll be back going here in Game 3. It's been a good one so far, 30-20. Pair of goals by Lawrence and Olazaba for Boston. And then Mendoza and then the two big ones, Jackson and Yanko, who have been carrying this team in a lot of ways all weekend long.
Yep. Yeah, some really good team goals from New York. You know, ho-hum, nothing really new there. Boston, again, with the missed opportunities, and that's something where a great team like New York is not going to let you get away with those for too long. You know, every possession's a new chance. Got to make sure that you take care of as many chances as you can. That's why, as a coach, you always want to harp on no loose balls, no second chances, no getting outworked, that type of thing.
Yeah, and obviously, you know, again, like we talked about, sure, this Game 3, you know, whether it's the wins that don't matter being the sweetest, et cetera, but, I mean, this New York team has an objective. They've never won an MLQ championship. There's a very, very good Austin team waiting at the end of their Yellow Brick Road, and you know they need to make sure they are inch perfect before they have to see that team at MLQ championships.
Yeah, absolutely. That's where your focus gets to. Every single time you're together as a team, you make sure that you know what exactly you're working for. Every time you play together is a chance to get better, including games that supposedly don't matter.
Yep. Luis Mendoza is still in the game here. Slips by Skura. Oh, just hits the backhander off the top hoop. That is a brace there for Mendoza.
My goodness. Luis Mendoza going dancing right now.
Yeah.
Absolutely electric slide through the defense right there. A little bar down. Yes, please.
Yeah, the 21-year-old out of the Rutgers program showing up big here for the Titans.
How about that?
Athena Mayer now has the ball for Boston, 4-2 in favor of the Titans. Freed now in the game along with Olivar. Skura sees a lane, flips one over the top. Olazaba is able to come up with it. Again, another one of those kind of shot passes. Uh-oh, trouble here. The pass goes wide of Skura.
Tough break there. I think Skura was expecting a player to be behind. There was a player behind. It was Collier, who obviously couldn't catch the quad ball. You'd like to see him reward Doyle right there. Doyle getting marked off the ball. Again, great preparation by New York to be on their P's and Q's and really make sure Doyle does not kill them in this series. Doyle was able to work free out on the wing. Just take the pass and make New York get in rotation. You know, reward somebody for getting open against man coverage.
Freed's not really going to have anywhere to go on this one. Two dodgeballs back. One dodgeball back and a few quad ball players. Athena Mayer is trying to force the reset. Freed's having none of that. Tate K now into the game for the first time alongside Tessa Mullins with dodgeball control. Freed moves it over to Mendoza.
Boston back in the 2-2.
Freed patient up top. Gets it over to Olivar. Olivar looking for the lane. Olivar looking for the shot. Not to be. It's Mendoza chasing it down the corner. Can't get to it this time, though.
A little bit sloppy from New York in that instance. I'd like to see Boston, you know, what do you have to lose? Maybe you don't want to show the tape or whatever, but just because you gave up a goal on a marked possession after 3 offensive rebounds in the last game doesn't mean you can't go back to it, right? Don't get tied into the outcomes necessarily. Think about the context of what you're running when you decide whether or not to go back to something.
Skura with the ball up top. Frank Minson meeting. Over to Mayer. Mayer has space, fakes a shot, pulls it back out. Minson presses her. Over to Skura. Skura considers the lane. Tate K keeping him out with a pump fake. Finally, Doyle's going to be able to get a touch in this ball game. A lot of space, but does just go back up to Skura. Collier trying to get near Mullins, his former player. Leo Freed picks it off and is looking to run now. Frank Minson's out in front of the play. Leo Freed flips it up to him. Can't get it cleanly. Carson Olazaba's closing in. Gets a partial wrap. Frank Minson did his best Luis Mendoza impression, but his doesn't go. Ian Skur now looking at run end to end. Tessa Mullins kind of gets caught off guard by it, throws it away. It's going to keep covering the ball. Oh, Doyle goes high but can't come down with it.
Doyle almost climbed the ladder on that one.
And that would have been a big momentum shifter.
Great transition defense from Forge there, and again, right here.
Skur gets big there. Hard to see if that was bounced off of Mayer or Freed. It's going to be given to Freed. Still going to be no dodgeball for a while. Collier is able to get a ball. Freed, though, running right through the defense. Freed puts it through, 5-2, New York.
Well done by New York to make the most of these opportunities, right? Not to be denied twice in a row in transition. If you're Boston, you got to settle down a little bit, right? So New York is doing a really good job adjusting to what Boston's trying to do. They're kind of, pinching vertically. And so you see Kay and Mullins now playing much more central, much more closer together. And credit to New York. They're defending at 5 ways to Sunday right now. Whatever defense they want, they are executing extremely well. Very
Doyle
impressive.
there, finally, though. For some reason there, the triangle and one focused in on Steven Tremple, and Zach Doyle is the player that's going to kill you. And there's a really nice find there. And Zach Doyle, coming from a volleyball background, loves to put some volleyball moves into his quad ball play and spikes that one home.
Absolutely. What makes a great finisher around the hoops are great hands, and Doyle has incredible hands.
5?
I was going to say, it's interesting to see. It looks like the triangle and one the last couple possessions has just been focusing on whoever was the behind hoops player, and Boston's adjusting by not having that be Zach Doyle.
Yeah, a good opportunity there from New York, but can't get it to go. Greenhouse being patient against the press. Fiona Weishart's now coming flying back into the play. Gets it across to Bertram. Bertram goes through one. Shot is good. A little bit of momentum. Starting to feel it on the Boston sidelines. The game is back within 150-40.
There's some juice in the building. And
for the first time, New York has to take a timeout here in this series.
Hey, now. How about that? Hey, you talk about not being afraid, playing with pride. Morgan Bertram, I don't think has ever been afraid of anything in her life. Works on cars for a living and plays like one on the field. Looking for contact and looking to make something happen right there.
Yeah, and I think a lot of what the things that have been working for Boston in the last few possessions are getting away from tendencies, right? It feels like New York was so ready for Boston to keep playing kind of lazy and in the way that they wanted to play. And New York has been set up so well for that. But then you think about the possession where Skur just came charging down the field, even though Beater was in possession, caught Mullins off guard, forced her to miss that beat. You think about Bertram, a lot of players on the Boston team don't necessarily take that lane and take that shot when there's a beater there. Bertram just forces the issue, and that's been kind of the difference of Boston finally being able to find some scoring opportunities. At the same time, they've clamped down a little bit more defensively. We saw Ian Skrull laying a big hit on the last possession in transition. Sure, they ended up scoring when all was said and done, but, definitely it feels like a little bit of a different Boston team, a Boston team that has adjusted from the things that have gone wrong in games 1 and game 2.
Absolutely. You said it perfectly, and I love the timeout from Frank Minson in this situation. We'll see, obviously I think he's done a really good job of blending the players of different backgrounds in this team into one system. I think he has a good hand on the pulse of this squad. A good time to take that timeout to try to reset and say, hey, listen, they've made adjustments. We're in the process of adjusting. They're already playing their beaters a little different. Their defense has been a little bit more conservative. It's just about let's get back to forcing them to react to us. Really, that's what you kind of want to say as a coach is let's stop being reactionary and let's go back to imposing our will a little bit. And it starts with cleaning up some of these passes over people's heads. Not, you had a couple of bunnies at the hoops, right? Couldn't finish through contact. Go make sure that you execute on the things you can control is what I'd say if I was Frank.
Yeah. And, basically all the goals with the exception of the one freed no dodgeball came from the first line of New York. It's been really quiet on offense since those players subbed out. John Jackson is back on the field now, and we'll see if they can start to create from that. Harry Greenhouse out there at point. It's going to be a 2-2 look here from Boston against dodgeball control. Patience here. Kay makes a beat, and it's a beautiful setup for Minson to hit a streaking Annika Kim. Kim finishes 6-4 New York. A really nice play out of the timeout.
Yeah, and that's a pass that's been there all game, and this time they hit it. Good pass by Minson and good finish by Kim.
New York did have to give up dodgeball control for the good of that goal. So what can Boston do off of it? Needs to hold serve here. Down to Fiona Weishart just whiffs on a beat completely on Tessa Mullins. And Boston's not able to take advantage of Mullins being forced out of the play to go collect it either. Kay fakes a beat. Ball goes up to Greenhouse. Bento has it. It's going to be an advantage, or I believe at least a delayed penalty. Mario Nasta has one called. All right, so they're going to adjudicate. Still working on that one. That penalty there.
Yeah. That's tough.
Yep.
It's one of the, I was never good at it. Easily one of my biggest ways to get cards in MLQ until I stopped trying it. It's so hard to not finish swinging at a ball that hits you in the chest first. There's some players who are great at it. Doyle, we've talked about him a lot. Great at swatting for the most part, as long as he's not trying to kick it behind him. I could never do it. I don't fault anybody for taking a card on that.
But I think New York, anytime they've had a quad ball player advantage, they've been so good at taking the space. We haven't seen that from Boston a ton, facing these quad ball power plays. I'd like to see, hey, this forces them out of playing their triangle in one, right? So what can you do now? What can you do with that extra freed up player?
Yeah, and we'll see if Boston, despite the New York timeout, is able to keep making New York be reactionary to them.
Greenhouse hits the lane, gets it over to Tremple. Tremple's shot goes low. Will Andrews is able to keep it in the offensive zone. Really nicely done there.
Penalty almost killed.
Yeah, it is just a blue card. Greg Bento gets in the lane, gets it over to Tremple. And really, that's all I've wanted to see from Boston. Someone just drawing a little of the defense's attention before moving it off. I wouldn't even say the timing was that efficient. Tremple wasn't super quick getting it off, but just something to move those chasers around.
Yeah, right. The beater still had a chance to make a play, but hey, you don't create an opening without trying. So well done. The timing was certainly better. Ball not off somebody's hands, and you're able to put it through for an easy one. And
Tremple, the young chaser seeker, only his second goal of the season, but a big one, keeping Boston within one here.
Yep. Tremble with 2 shot opportunities on that possession. You like to see him have scored on the short hoop on the last one, be a little more patient. This time he, make sure he puts it through.
Barnes is beat there, so Will Andrews might have a press opportunity. At minimum, got a dodgeball control back, which is really nice. McCready clearing out arbitrating, never a bad idea. Mohagog looking to hit the lane, gets around Bertram, flips it over the top to arbitrating, but as we were talking about, McCready has been waiting there.
Yep. Well done by Boston to keep their defensive shape, staying active even though they're compressed, active hands at the hoops, not give up anything easy, and be quick in rotation, right?
Yeah, and hey, we've got a ball game here. I mean, this one is not going to get, I don't think, decided in these first 20 minutes by any means. Boston only down 1 here and trying to tie it up, I think, past the 12-minute mark.
Yeah, and we talked about the pace, right? I mean, Boston was not going to win any of these games in a shootout. They can win games against a lot of teams in a shootout. This is not one of them. And it's going better so far.
Oh, a good idea there from Greenhouse to switch it to the weak side. Couldn't, just a little not clean there from Bertram with the hands. Is going to go the other way. Not going to be a press opportunity, though. The dodgeball control is with New York. John Jackson looking to hit Annika Kim. Not even sure who gets the goal there. Jackson is pointing Kim's way.
Great
Well, it looks like Kim might have gotten a little touch on it.
Great hands by Kim. Well done. Very well done. Perfect cut. Good timing. And I love the delayed fast break, right? When your identity is to run, don't just give up on it if you don't get a full-on breakaway dunk type of fast break, right? Run up and still look to make a first cut before the defense is completely set. Boston's trying to get in a 2-2, and the chaser wasn't there on that hoop, and they get a free one.
Bertram with the ball, back up to Greenhouse. Bento has on the near side. Tremple's the player behind. Currently not being marked, so we're seeing more of a traditional 2-2 here out of New York now.
Yep.
Just ever changing the defenses. Greenhouse goes high. Greenhouse, I think, shot low. Greg Bento trying to get to the ball. Bertram as well. Greg Bento does clean up the rebound. A rare second chance opportunity here for Boston. It's a long pass, but John Jackson's going to get a hand on it. Dodges the beat. Throws it back to Hagag. Doesn't matter whether or not Hagag was across because it was an immediate possession. Hagag, though, does bobble that. Greg Bento makes the big hit. John Jackson now has it again. An extended fast break opportunity, and Annika Kim doing her best Zach Doyle impression. Swan one home. A quick hat trick there for the young player out of Rutgers.
Fantastic, fantastic hustle play from the entire New York team. Even the beaters got in the play to make some beats. And I love teams that reward the player that gets down the field first. Kim was ready, she's been ready, and she's been absolutely money around the hoops.
Yeah, 5 goals out of the 2 young Rutgers players, Mendoza and Kim, an 8-5 lead here for New York. And it's just like what we were talking about. They have their answer for the next generation. Boston's still trying to find theirs. As I speak, Peter Lawrence is driving the lane, pass up to Harry Greenhouse. Greenhouse gets it back to, now with Beckman. Sorry, that was Delk who had it originally. Pass goes wide. It is going to be Peter Lawrence getting there first. Peter Lawrence dodges a beat, goes to the top of the zone, and I think it's just going to be a settling down here. Montero protected him. Collier looking to make a play on Hickmott. Hickmott does get beat. Greenhouse over to Beckman, and Beckman, the door gets shut by Jackson. It's going to be a race to the ball.
Great hands by Jackson, and great hustle trying to go after the loose ball. Jackson's just an eraser around hoops. I said it in the last game. There's so many things that you think you have space for that you just don't, whether it's a shot or a pass. Like sometimes you're like, all right, Jackson's taking away the shot. I'm going to pass it to somebody else. And somehow he's got hands on that ball or hands on the player on the catch.
Yeah. And, you know, you always know the sign of a good coaching staff when things really swing your way after you call timeout. It was 60-50 at the time of timeout. So far it's been all New York since a 20-0 run, and the defense really clamping down in a big way.
Yep, yeah. A 20-0 run with plenty of fast break opportunities. A team that looks more like New York, even though they're playing this kind of adjusted style, not overextending a ton, not looking to press the whole time because Boston adjusted their beaters. Just well done of playing one move ahead so far by New York.
I also think, you know, New York really stopped, you know, messing around what they identified, and it's something you talked about. Anytime things aren't working out for New York offensively, they can put John Jackson in line, know he'll meld with the rest of the line, and they'll start getting scoring opportunities again. And that's exactly what they did.
Yeah.
He played for a while. They got off to a good start. They pulled him. Things that slowed down, they put him right back with, you know, a couple young players. A player like Annika Kim, doesn't really matter. It's still going to be effective.
Something that Boston always used to be able to do, and I think can do again. I really think this is an instance of preparation, and which isn't to disparage another coach. I would never want to do that. But it's an instance of New York is crisper. They are better prepared. They've been practicing harder, and you see it. And not just, you know, during the summer, but all year. That's why they're USQ champs as well.
Greenhouse in the lane. I think there's going to be a conversation about whether Hickmott's beat hit the ground or not, because obviously the ball did go through the hoop.
Yeah, New York thinks for sure that the beat hit. Looked like it from here.
Yep. But again, I do like that a lot of these forged quadball players are starting to take those spaces that are being given by New York and kind of daring a beat to come or daring a player to step out on them.
Yep. Yeah, just because you don't score doesn't mean that the action that you're running is ineffective. Sometimes better defense just wins.
Yanko ball on the near side alongside Jackson. Paguada in as well. Yanko goes right in the lane, kicks it over to Molly Potter. Molly Potter looking for the shot. Potter just knocks one off of Sarah Delk, and it's going to be a stop there for for Boston. Still down 3, though. Still have not scored since the timeout. Just 2.5 minutes left now here until the flag run on pitch period. Definitely seems like it's going to be the closest game to date as Pierre Lawrence just flies one over the top of the hoop. I don't hate the shot, though. Untouched from 6 yards out with a attackable middle hoop. Not a bad look.
Yeah, the timing was off. That was a 1.5 from Collier off of the fresh control right there. I'd love to see a ball screen right as Collier's throwing their ball back. Lawrence sees it a little bit late and maybe is shooting on a hoop that was too well protected, and that's why the ball goes high. But like you said, I mean, I've never seen a shot I didn't like.
Collier is able to keep control, but it's Taylor Crawford who can't keep a hand on Yanko. Yanko goes into the hoops. And, you know, sometimes as a beater, you got to make those plays as Collier's broom goes flying in a catch attempt. But, yeah, sometimes you have to count on your defense to be able to shut the door for, 1 or 2 seconds. Not the case there.
Yep. And a great play by Yanko. I mean, it makes the shot look easy, but you're running off balance and kind of jumping with an incredibly strong person pushing you. A good shot and finish there.
Beckman trying to get around Freed, does get the ball over to Delk, but Christian Barnes' beat is waiting. Yanko now looking to run the other way. Slows it down. Oh, Beckman tried to sneak in. Oh, and it's Biddles. Leo Freed tried to make a cheeky throw back. Chris LeCompte was not having it. Nice stop there by Biddles. Tara Crawford, though, did cross the midline with not a ton of space to work. Finally does find a nice pass to Beckman, who was being guarded by Paguada.
I love that. I love that from Molly Potter. Molly Potter knows that she's going back to the hoops part of this zone, but knows that her defense isn't set yet. Worst case scenario, she gets beat and sent back to where she's supposed to be anyway. But by doing that, she's able to hold up Taylor Crawford and make sure Boston doesn't capitalize on their defense that's not set.
Lawrence misses another open hoop in the middle there. Again, don't hate the idea, but the execution just hasn't been there for Lawrence on many of the shots. I think they're going to talk this one over, though.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, Peter Lawrence could have 8 goals this series so far. A player that's been playing well but hasn't been able to put it all together, that one's going to go through and count. Yeah,
a much-needed stop to the 30-0 run since the timeout for New York. Gets it back within 30. I think this might be the last possession, or maybe Boston will get one more before the 20. Definitely the most competitive game of the series to date. Definitely a game that Boston is actually hanging in.
Yep, and it starts on the offensive end, like we talked about, not just in the goals, but in how it's setting up their ability to play defense. When you're able to keep the pace of the game in your favor, you don't let games get away from you. And when you're able to do that, now all of a sudden your ability in the flag runner game can help you pull games out.
Paguada over to Potter. Peter Lawrence, though, is charging at her, forces the ball loose. Potter looking to shoot. Nobody picked up Molly Potter, and she delivers one to put New York back up 40. She had no dodgeball help. She had minimal quad ball option help, and nobody on the Boston defense stepped to her.
Molly Potter's way, way, way too good for that, and she's a better person than me, because if I saw that happen where I dropped the ball and nobody even tried to get the ball, nobody picked me up, and I dropped a shot in, I would have let every single player on the other team know that. So great job by Molly there. Way to stick with the play.
Yeah, I mean, Molly Potter, a player, has been so important for this program for so long. Maybe doesn't get the hype. I mean, obviously playing alongside a player like Lindsay Morella, but I mean, Potter, we saw it in the Washington series with Morella not there, how important she was to that series, her production, her defensive play as well. And obviously that's a big swing there. You know, being in range doesn't matter as much as it used to, but you know, going up 40 instead of 30 at the 20-minute mark still just feels different mentally when you're a quad ball player.
Well, absolutely. I mean, and it puts you, you know, every goal matters, right? A goal saved, a goal scored, every goal matters. Is, you know, all that matters are the goals, right? We have a set scoring system here, so you're right in that. You don't lose on a catch or whatever, but it helps you. Now they need one more goal if they're going to beat you. So.
Yeah.
And again, momentum absolutely exists. So you look at the last time that this team talked, it was out of a necessary timeout. Now it's easy for Frank Minson. Now you say, hey, we're pushing all the right buttons. We have all the right answers. We got a catch on the last game. We're here to absolutely, you know, we let this team think they had a chance, and now we're going to go out and bury them. That's what you're saying in this huddle, and you're leaving with a team full of hungry players ready to absolutely finish this game.
Yeah, and you know, some of those top-line players we haven't even see that much. I'm not sure if maybe Mike Lee picked up a knock. I don't think we've seen him at all in this game. We haven't seen Lindsay Morella since her first shift in this game. So, I mean, New York is ready to come out firing when they need to. Yes, they played a lot of John Jackson in this game, but I wouldn't say a lot of their other top-line players necessarily have.
Yep, and they play so well in their system. They play so connected. They don't need to. They're a lot like Austin in that way, where, you know, how do these programs just keep finding players, finding pieces to fit in? It's like, hey, well, if you get the system set up the right way, everybody knows their reads, everybody knows what they need to be doing, and they communicate well. It matters, but it doesn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I'm interested to see if Boston chooses to change up anything about their beating strategy and flag runner on pitch here, given the game's a little bit closer. Maybe give Greg Bento, who's getting the start, a little bit more of an opportunity. Or if they're going to kind of keep relying on their beaters to kind of stay in the quad ball game.
Feels like you gotta you got to play defense with the beaters, and you got to play offense with the beaters on flag runner.
Tarek Crawford, though, right out of the 20 minutes, saw a no dodgeball opportunity he liked, blew right by Eric Paguada and puts it away. So it is back to basically being the exact scenario it would have been if Molly Potter hadn't hit that shot. It's a 30-point game at the beginning of flag runner on pitch.
It buys you an extra possession, though, right? Now they're one instance closer of being able to score one of those 6 that they need.
Yep. Andrews takes a very hard beat from Kay there. As going the other way, it's a quick goal from New York. Hagag's getting some time. I think Andrews is going to have to take a sub.
Love that from Pagoda, getting into the lane and almost a flag runner on pitch specialist here. I love when teams are able to use those effectively, and great finish there.
It's Crawford there slipping a couple tackles, making a big hit. Athena Mayer comes down with it. Athena Mayer is able to put it through. Taylor Crawford puts it through in extra time just for good measure.
Well done. Good pass there at the last instance. Great finish by and great positioning by Athena Mayer. Hagag getting a lot of time on the flag runner so far.
Paguada subs out. Hagag looking to put possibly this series away, put the sweep away. Collier, though, does get dodgeball control and is going to use it to make the beaters. Biddles clears out, and it's going to be Nikolai who gets it. It's going to be Skura going the other way. Skura has nobody in front. This period's going all Boston's way. If they could just get a catch here, we might have a real game. It is 110-80.
I'd say we've had a real game all game, but if you're Boston, it's one of those right now where you need to see it to believe it. You know, if you're New York, you have the history, you have the track record. You've been believing it. You think it's never in doubt.
Leo Freed just grabs the one-handed ball, puts it through. It's now 120-90.
Makes it look easy. Picking it out of the air. Leo Freed plays with gloves. I bet he doesn't need them.
No.
Those are
I'm
hands.
sorry. As his coach, I've seen him in the rain when he has to take the gloves off. He can't do any of that stuff anymore.
All right, how about that? Check the gloves then.
All right. And sorry, we're going to correct the score on our end. It is 120-100 right now.
All right. Looks like Biddles and Weishart with control around the flag runner.
So Emily Hickmott is actually in the box with a card here, which means Stephen Tremble's going to have all the time in the world. I wonder if Boston might want to slow it down and give him a chance to work. Almost makes the catch there. Skura gets around the corner. Skura looking to work here. Not getting a ton of help. Does get over to Mayer. Did Take K make the beat in time? No, he didn't. That is going to release the seeker, though. So that is a risky endeavor there from Boston. It is now 120-110. We've got a ball game here in Game 3. Tremple and Emily Hickmott both running at it. Minson trying to go around Olazaba. Does run right into Skura. Now is getting into a pile. Skura is not willing to let it go. I think Skura might get some back contact here. Sorry, a high contact instead.
Yep. It's tough with a player that much shorter than you. Minson doing a good job staying low, driving the legs. Not doing a good job of passing before contact, but hey, bailed out with a foul.
I think Skura's team, though, is going to appreciate the fact that, he has been kind of leading by example with the physicality in the last game in a way he doesn't necessarily always do. I think that's something really for the team to build on. It's going to be Lindsay Morello all by herself for an extended period of time, but nobody wants to lay the hit on her. Now Molly Potter comes back into the play. Morello now looking to get in the lane. Morello around Olazaba. Oh, Athena Mayer, the desperation breakup of that pass. Great defense there from Boston.
I love that look, the screen and roll from Potter and Morella, and the off-ball defense from Mayer there. Great stuff.
It's going to be a win for Boston in the dodgeball game around the flag runner, which is going to give Beckman some time. Beckman famously delivered Boston its most recent championship with a grab. Could deliver them a win here in this series if he can come up with another one.
Yeah. Oh, Ing got real close on that one. Beckman was beating himself up in between games about not having the pull in the last one.
Mayer goes down hard but finds Nikolai. Nikolai's shot goes very high. It will be a stop for New York. Skura is still in the box here. But, really, I think what matters the most is going to be this flag runner game. Beckman's getting more and more time. I think Tessa Mullins might have missed that beat there.
Flag runner's doing an excellent job of playing with the jabs and not getting into the post against these seekers.
Beckman can't come up with it there. I think he's going to be flag runner down, though. Meanwhile, it's just a slow walk up for John Jackson here in the quad ball game. Ian Skur is going to drop high. It's going to be a screen there by Morello. John Jackson's going to get ahead of steam, and John Jackson doesn't get stopped in those situations. Score is now 130-110. 3 more needed for New York or a catch. Both would be decisive. Boston, a catch would put them in the lead still.
Great screen by Morello there. Horrible on-ball screen and roll defense from Boston.
And a great screen by Athena Mayer. Horrible pick and roll defense there from New York, and Skur just dunks it right home.
Yeah. New York coming out in the trees. Hard to have a second person on the screen there. I like to see Mayer making up for it on the offensive end. Great job.
Yeah, I do not like trees looks when you have no dodgeballs in the play, personally.
Yep, it's tough.
Mike Lee trying to drive around, does get around, puts a hand through the hoop, nice and easy. 2 more goals now needed for New York. Still 4 more needed for Boston.
And if you're Boston, you start thinking about not giving New York the ball back in this instance. You have an opportunity to pull a flag. It feels like that's your only way to victory. You got to be conscious about if you trade goals with them, you lose this game.
Yeah, but 1 more does make it so that a catch also wins for you. Skur is just moving around in the lane, does flip it over to Mayer. Mayer, the two-handed shot right past Jackson.
How about that?
So now we are in traditional quad ball. A catch either way will be decisive, but also we still have this quad ball game going, and it only needs 2 more goals from New York or 3 more goals from Boston.
Hey, it's winning time right here. Under the lights in New York City, you can't get better than this. Let's see who wants it more.
Landumann's out of the play, which means I believe it's Paguada currently who's going to get some opportunity on the flag runner. Boston is going to put its dodgeball back in the quad ball game. We talked about how decisions are going to get harder now that New York only needs 2 more. John Jackson, though, still going to get a no dodgeball situation. Olazawa rolls off of him. It's now 1 goal to win for New York. And at the same time, Paguada is getting more time with the flag runner. Can Boston slow down an offense long enough for their beaters to give their seeker a chance to win the game?
Yeah, you got to get fresh legs in at seeker. You got to be much more anxious than Will Andrews is being right now around the snitch.
So Skur goes end to end and puts in the goal, and it's a really, really risky endeavor to give the quad ball back to the team who needs 1 goal to win.
Heads up play by New York. Did not care about playing defense.
It did seem like they were just letting Skur score there, I gotta say.
A heady play right there from New York.
Collier is in the defense, but is way out of position. Lee has the ball on the near side. Oh, it's a beat, but the ball does go off to Morello. Morello in the lane. Morello, the shot goes wide. Boston is still alive. Morello makes that shot every single time.
Have you ever seen 300 people gasp at once? Because I think I just did. Every single player on the field did not move until that ball hit the ground because everyone thought it was in.
2 more goals needed for Boston or a catch. 1 more goal needed for New York or a catch. Did Ian Skur just block that dodgeball? I don't think he never even saw it. Mayer has it. Mayer loses it. I think Greenhouse is going to be first there. It's a kick there. It is going to go to New York. Yeah.
What a touch by Morello with the ball on the ground.
I think the ref staff might have to have a quick conversation about everything that just happened there.
Yeah, hard to tell on the loose ball. Looked like 2 players kind of wrapped up with each other. I'm sure they'll decide what's what, but regardless, good heads-up play and a good touch with a foot there by Morello.
Also, a quick shout-out to our snitch, Mikkel, who has basically gotten no beater help, I feel like, for most of this series and has been holding up very well against a great group of seekers from both these teams.
Both teams getting a lot of seekers in, and we got a pull.
So it does seem as though Mohagog has made the pull that does complete the sweep for New York, and we apologize for not noticing.
We couldn't see it. We got a fantastic camera crew here today. And what we said about the flag runner is still true. A fantastic job against a variety of different seekers. Both these teams have great seeker depth, and both teams were playing their beaters a lot in the quad ball game instead of the seeker game. Good adjustments too, right? Didn't get figured out by the seekers. Instead, he adjusted to them. Hats off to the flag runner.
Yeah. So that is going to be at 185-140. New York completes the first ever regular season sweep of the Boston Forge. New York earns their first ever undefeated season. And as we mentioned after game 2, New York are the champions of the East Division. They will take the number 1 seed. They will get a direct path to the quarterfinals and probably a favorable matchup when they get there. Obviously, this New York team has the highest of high expectations. They took Austin to game 3 in the semifinals last year. They were in the finals 2 years ago. The championship has always invaded them, but I gotta say, the future looks bright for this team.
I mean, even going back to 2019, this is a team that has long been trying to get over the hump, and you see some of that in the USQ championship that the Warriors were able to earn in the spring. The tide is turning. These are no longer, close but no cigar team. This is no longer always a bridesmaid, never a bride. They just sent a statement out to the rest of the league, hey, it's our turn to get married, and they took it to their longtime rival in Boston in doing so. They've been the best team in the division this season, and they were definitely the best team tonight.
Awesome. Well, we want to thank you all for watching. We hope you enjoyed what was, I think, an absolutely fantastic series of the week with New York taking the sweep. For myself, for Teddy Costa, for Jack McGovern, who's been doing our interviews all night, and for our producer, Nick Jablonski, we want to thank you for watching and tuning in all night. We've got plenty more MLQ action to go, some big series in this division and across the league to come, and of course, North Division championships and MLQ championships at the end of August in Des Moines, Iowa. Thank you all so much for watching. We hope you have a good night. New York Titans 3-0 sweep and East Division 2023 champions.